Morning, folks. Today I am waxing traps, which I should have already had done by now. The wolf trapping season actually started yesterday, at least in this area. It's only September 11th, so it's really too soon in my opinion, but I'm legal and I don't have my traps ready to go. These traps, they're already waxed and dyed, but they were set last year, and I don't know. I'd like to start with everything fresh. So these have been boiling for probably close to an hour now, and I forgot to throw my wax in there. A lot of people say that straight paraffin like that is not really the best. They should add some beeswax. Then you hear other folks say that beeswax has an odor to it, and you don't want any odor. So, I don't know. The straight paraffin seems to work okay. It does sometimes flake off a little bit, like this one here. It's a little bit flaky, but it stays on good enough that I'm really not that worried about it. When you wax your traps, what waxing actually does is it reduces friction. It's almost like grease and bearings and things. That wax coating is slick, and it'll make your trap spring a little bit faster. It also keeps them from rusting, and rusty traps, they work okay, but dogs, wolves, coyotes, fox, they have good noses, and if you and me can smell that rust, they sure can. So anyway, that's what I'm doing today. I had Mike Fye. He's one of the people that watch my stuff and has been for a long time. His daughter lives here, and he come out to see her, and he stopped by. We had a good visit, and that was fun to see him. But nothing too exciting, just boiling traps. Cindy's got her choke cherries in the house cooking away, and she's not here. So it's up to me to make sure that thing doesn't boil dry. She shouldn't have left me in charge, because it did boil dry, but luckily I caught it pretty quick and it didn't hurt anything, and unless she sees this, she's not going to know about it. But anyhow, take a look at those real quick. It's coming along pretty good. We're planning to have a whole video on this, but this is I don't know what that holds. I think it's more than a gallon of pure choke cherry juice. Choke cherries look like this. They're probably 3/8 or so in size. They're really bitter. It takes a lot of sugar to turn them into jelly and whatever. But her steamer, we use that on those grapes, and it's a pretty neat deal. You don't have to have a steamer. In the past, we've cooked them down, and then just kind of mashed them. But this thing really takes a lot of the work out of it. You still need a masher. And kind of squish them down every now and then. And the juice runs into a strainer in the next level. This is a three-stage pot, cook pot. The bottom one, this bottom one has water in it, and I need to check that, make sure it's not running dry. This one here, it's a strainer with kind of a collection bin in it. Actually, that is the collection bin. This is the cook pot, has a bunch of little holes in it, like one of these things. And the juice runs down from this top part due to the steam into this part, and then out this little tube and into your collection pot. So it's kind of a neat setup. Anyway, that's for another day. Good stuff. Okay, looks like my wax is melted. And all those bubbles, you don't really want that. So I need to turn the heat down on this. Now, when I hook those traps, still got too many bubbles there. I don't want to turn it all the way off though. It's hard to light. Okay, so that wax will float on top of the water. So now when I pull those hot traps up through that hot wax, only a thin coat of it will stay on the trap, and that's all you need. You don't want a whole lot of wax. When I first started trapping, and a lot of people I've seen still think that. I mean, I see it in magazines a lot and stuff. They think you need an entire cook pot full of wax to wax your traps, and you don't. You only need just a little bit on top of the water. And when you pull it up through there, it coats them good enough. You don't want them real heavily waxed, and just a real thin layer is all you're looking for. So the secret to this is your traps have to be hot. If they're not hot, I got this hook to pull them out of there with, it's cold. What happens if you put that into that wax like that and then pull it back out, you get a real heavy coating of the wax on there. You don't want a heavy coating. So even on this hook, I'm going to put that in there, let it heat up a little bit before I pull these traps out. You want it to be basically the same temperature as the hot wax. This old wire cage over here makes a perfect rack. See, now, pull that up out of there. You really can't see any wax on it. There is some though. This old wire cage makes a perfect drip rack for these traps once they're cooling. Thought I had more in there than that. I only had 5. I'll throw in some more. The ones that get rust on them like this, kind of dark, I don't know if you can see that, but the ones that are rusty like that, that's perfect. The dye will stick to that better than they will an oiled trap or a one that's already had dye on it. Okay, turn the heat back up and boil these. Now these traps, as they cool, they're still a little hot, and still the wax hasn't cooled off completely. They look a little shiny. Once they cool off, get my pocket knife out here, there's just a real thin coating of wax. That's all it takes. You're only looking for a kind of a little bit of a layer to keep them from rusting, and like I say, oil them up some to keep them working faster. The snow and ice doesn't stick quite as bad either to a wax trap than it does a bear trap. Ducks are getting big. So when Mike Fye came by, I don't know, I was busy trying to get this all going, and Cindy's choke cherries and everything. There's too much going on. I should have got some pictures with him here, but hopefully he'll stop by again before he has to go back home. Well, anyway, let these cook for another 10-15 minutes, and I'll pull them out and do some more. Those ducks are crazy. They'll run right underneath that cook deal. I mean, there's a propane flame underneath there. I went off that bottle. And little guys keep trying to run under there and hide, I guess. This is that big trap that I modified, that TS85, and wrecked my camera with, but my setting tools won't even come close to working on this one. So I'm going to have to make a new set of tools for it, but kind of probably should do that before I dye it, but I got everything going. I might as well throw it in there. Excuse me. Okay, so this trap should be a pretty good example, really. The new metal I put on here, that's shiny, it's not going to dye. The stuff here with the zinc coating, it won't dye. That chain there is good and rusty. It should turn fairly black. And the trap itself, I don't like that big pan. I should probably cut that down some, but it'll be good for this year, I guess. Anyway, the rusty parts on this, they should turn fairly black. But it might take a little bit longer than normal because it hasn't been in before. But we'll have to look and see how this comes out. Here's that modified TS85 after it came out of the die. It actually did better than I thought. Even the bright silver parts, other than the stuff that's zinc coated, chrome coated. Other than that, it turned out pretty good. I'm impressed. Blacker than I expected it to be. After you get these traps all boiled and waxed, you don't want to touch them again with bare hands. These gloves have been in my trapping stuff since last winter. They smell a little mildewy, but that's okay. Everything in the woods smells like that. I like these ammo cans to put them in. You can stack them in here. They fit just about perfect. At least they did. How come they're not? Okay, here we go. I can get several in here, and then they're free from exhaust smells in the pickup and anything like well, the burn barrel or anything like that. Keeps all the scent off of them again. I'd like to get some more of these ammo cans this size. that holds 4 traps, and I'm not real speedy with setting these things anyway, and 4 to 6 every time I go out to check them. If I can set 4 more or 6 more every time, that's about all I really get done anyway in a day. By the time you find a good spot and set them up and everything, it's time consuming, a little bit at a time. Now that can is ready to go into the truck. Got 4 traps in there, and they're all sealed from the scent and, outside world, really. These traps here, I bought these with the money I got from my first wolf. There's 6 traps in here. These are probably $30, $35 a piece, and then the chain and all that stuff, it all adds up pretty quick. But I tried something I've never done before, and that's paint. I wish I had never done that. As you can see, they're kind of chipped off, they're rusting through. You still have to boil these to get rid of the scent. They won't probably rust with that paint on them, but I don't like them. I worry about that paint kind of contaminating my trapping dye. I don't know if it would or not, but heating paint doesn't seem like a good plan. Those traps are the last ones I put in my cook pot to boil them, and the last ones I set. I've never caught anything with those traps, and partly because I don't set them as much as I do the rest, but I wish I had never done that. And I don't know, maybe I worry too much, but this wolf trapping thing is not as easy as a lot of people think it is. You don't just throw a bear trap out in the dirt and expect something to run along and step in it like they do in the movies. In the movies, everybody's always stumbling into a bear trap or some stupid thing. But in real life, it doesn't work like that. Anyway, Cindy should be home here anytime now. And I got the last of her choke cherries cooking. That pot I filled up again so it doesn't run dry like it did last time. Hopefully she doesn't watch this video and find out that it did, because what she don't know won't hurt me, maybe, if I'm lucky. Let's see you folks later. Have a great day. Thank you for watching. Bye.